The world is a strange place, but never so strange as when it stops seeming strange. Whether we were fearfully and wonderfully made, or creeped by happenstance from a primordial ooze, or if we're ones and zeros in an imperceptible simulation, or if we were seeded on this planet by an extraterrestrial species, what we are now has decided what is normal, and whatever's outside of that elicits revulsion. When the revulsion becomes normal, however, is when the potential for true horror begins. There's a sliver of self-awareness embedded within all of us, ensconced in the subconscious. Only a word, a phrase, an impression, and the sliver may be thrust, cutting and tearing to the consciousness. Blank, staring eyes are manifest realization. We have become different, alien, other, and we are afraid of ourselves. If we can normalize this abominable thing, then what else might we comfortably disregard as mundane? What atrocities might we be capable of tweaking our moral compass's needle to skip over as we spin down and down and down? And what if it weren't a bad thing? The following story is a sobering reminder of my own existential uncertainty, but it reminds also, not to be gloomy, of my triumphs, of when I decided to be who I am, to favor decisive action over procrastinatory and paralyzing introspection. It's not always who you are that unmakes you. Sometimes it's the inability to believe it. I've disregarded the belief, the hope, and the pondering, and begun to act. With progress comes certainty. Take caution and enjoy the video. Welcome to Loaded Trifle, episode 4, where I'm going to read Alistair's work. It was the winner of the second contest in my Discord server, and the prize was, unfortunately, just me reading the story and doing an episode on it. So this is that. So here we go. Forms of Discovery is the title. It was almost midnight. Thomas found the remote control in the tangle of sheets next to his wife, Emma, who was snoring. He turned off the TV, and the reflection of his scarred face stared back from the empty screen. Strange how the burns never healed. He touched the scar tissue on one cheek, ran his fingers across the smooth skin. Smooth skin? Now, I've seen scars before, and the skin don't look that smooth to me. That's all I'm saying. The old bed spring squealed when he stood up and made for the washroom. Despite the shriek of metal, Emma kept snoring away. In the bathroom, he found Emma's abandoned iPad on the counter next to the Colgate Total. Okay, someone in the server had thought that naming the name of the product was a little weird. iPad doesn't bother me because I feel like iPads are so common and mixed in with our lives that it's just a thing. It's iPad is like saying tablet. It's so common, or tissue. But Colgate Total feels almost like product placement, like Jay had mentioned. Jay is one of the guys in the server. That does feel a little odd. It's like Colgate Total, only $2.99 at your local Kmart. Okay, the iPad battery was at 27% and dropping fast. She'd forgotten to turn it off. Thomas reached to hit the power button. It was paused on a YouTube makeup tutorial. Then one of the recommended videos caught his eye. The first recommendation looked stupid. How to dazzle your man with 4 simple tricks. The next video, though, had a thumbnail with red, raw skin on one side and perfect skin on the other. It was titled Makeup Tutorial, Hiding Scars and Burns. You know, it says that it caught his eye, but then it jumps to the first one was stupid. That doesn't feel strong to me. It should have just went straight to, it caught his eye, it said something about catching his, the raw skin. I think the reason that he did this is because he wanted to put a little bit of time for dramatic effect between it catching his eye and actually stating what the video was. But in this case, it just, if that one caught his eye, then why was he even looking at the other one? So, I mean, there's other ways he could have done it. I don't think this worked perfectly, but it's nitpicking. As if on cue, Thomas's eyes moved to the bathroom mirror, to the burns on his face. Scar tissue that would never heal, would never grow hair or look normal again. He clicked on the makeup video. A blast of intro music startled him as the makeup tutorial began. Then, a list of supplies for the video popped up on the screen with pictures next to each item. He's doing that thing that I don't really like, where he's basically in a constant immediate scene. And for those who don't know, immediate scene is where you're describing every physical action. The sweat on the face, the puckering of the pores as they close up. I feel like there's not enough interesting stuff happening here to warrant all this description. Like, the blasting of the music, he could be worried it would wake his wife up, and his wife would be really mad or whatever. That would be conflict or interesting. But just stating that, it was loud, big deal. Who cares? And you could have said it. He could have said it really passively and just went right along with it, just moved along. But instead, he kind of gave it this focus that I feel is just, it makes it tedious. Let's see. Thomas touched his face, feeling the scars. It was worth a try, wasn't it? A shiver suddenly ran up his spine, and he had the strangest feeling that someone was watching him. Thomas paused the video and peeked out into the bedroom, half expecting Emma to be watching from the other side of the door jamb, though she was still in bed, sawing logs. Feeling foolish, Thomas shut the sliding door to the bathroom and latched it. For some reason, it reassured him. He found everything for the video in Emma's makeup stockpile under the sink, and he wondered how much it had cost to fill the drawers and trays with all the tins and cases. Shaking his head, he muttered to himself, maybe it's MasterCard. Maybe it's Maybelline. Isn't Maybelline I don't know what Maybelline is. I heard of it recently, but I don't know what it is. Once everything was set out on the counter, he pushed play on the video. The list of supplies faded away to reveal a young Indian woman with acid burns covering most of her face. She had a thick accent, but Thomas was able to follow it. The hard part was copying her motions and methods to apply the makeup. He had to pause the video and rewind many times, even though the video was only 12 minutes long, but after each portion of the video ended, the scars on his face were less and less obvious. As the old burns faded away, Thomas began to realize how much he'd hated those effing scars. His heart began... I apologize, I'm not accustomed to using profanity, and I just naturally didn't swear there. I'll try to use the words to retain the integrity of the original work, henceforth. But I'm not going to go back to it. His heart began to pound in excitement as he copied the woman stroke for stroke and color for color. At long length... Okay, at long length... The phrase at length means that. That's what that means. It means at long length. So saying at long length is superfluous. The word long is unnecessary. At length, when he'd made finishing touches, he stepped back to take it all in. Wow. Thomas had never known what it felt like to have his breath taken away until that moment. A gorgeous face stared back at him in the mirror, unrecognizable. He blinked in confusion after a moment. It was strange. His skin tone was naturally dark to begin with, and he was a skinny guy, but it was shocking how much he looked like the pretty Indian woman in the video. Oh man, what? He looked back and forth between the pause screen and his mirror. Damn, I'm sexy, he thought, moving back and forth in front of the mirror, running his hands across his body. Getting very uncomfortable right now. The only problem with the hot woman in the pause tutorial had some generous cleavage to go with a pretty face, and he didn't. One of Emma's bras lay discarded. I'm getting teenage flashbacks. One of Emma's bras lay discarded on the floor in a pile of clothes next to the shower. Thomas shot a nervous glance at the sliding door into the bedroom, then scooped up the bra as his heart pounded like a drum. Shit, he thought. I've gone this far, might as well. He pulled on the bra and wriggled it into place, then filled the cups with toilet paper. It didn't look quite right. Too much white paper sticking out. Maybe a shirt would hide that. He scooped up Emma's t-shirt and pulled it on. Perfect. The shirt was already stretched into the female form. The reflection in the mirror was more beautiful than before. If only he had long hair like the woman in the video. This better not get overly weird. Thomas yanked open the cupboard under the sink and rifled through the contents, then found what he was looking for, a black wig that Emma had worn for a witch costume last Halloween. After pulling on the wig and reapplying the lipstick he'd nervously been chewing at, the look was nearly complete. A sexy woman stood before him in the mirror, luxurious black hair down to her slender waist. Without a second thought, he swapped out his boxers for the black panties lying on the floor, and the picture was complete. The slick, velvety feeling of the panties on his hips felt as good as he looked. The only thing that stuck out was his growing erection. Why? He posed a few different ways, turning and pulling at the long hair, putting one finger in his mouth, smooching at the mirror with his red lipstick, sticking his booty out and wiggling it. Shit, he thought. Even I'd bang me. It was hard to believe his transformation. He'd never imagined it was possible. In fact, was it all in his own head? Wouldn't anyone else think he was sexy too? Now that he'd gone this far, he wanted to find out. But what could he do? Make a Tinder profile? Yeah, right. The thought alone made him shudder. Too extreme. What about Instagram, though? One of Emma's friends, Tracy, a beautiful girl from Minnesota, was always babbling about how many clicks or likes or whatever she was getting for her modeling photos on Instagram. Thomas turned off the iPad and used his phone to create an Instagram account. Just like that, huh? Right there, huh? I'm getting really anxious. Once he got to the photo section, he posed for a few risque shots. There was also a video option, so he recorded a short one with his dick tucked back out of sight, which was no small feat in the tight black panties. Oh, what is this? This better get... What is this? Like, is this going to get scary or something? This better... I don't know what it is, but it better have a point. Watching the video on replay, it was hard to believe it was him. A breathtaking, unrecognizable woman with long black hair and red lips fluttered her eyelashes on the screen. She groped at her boobs through a t-shirt, biting her lip and waggling her butt. Then the video ended. Thomas posted all the pictures in the video, then felt a strong sense of satisfaction as he closed the app. Even without seeing any responses to his post, he knew he was sexy as... Now that the excitement was over, he was tired and long since ready for sleep. The process of washing out all the makeup was agonizing. There was a scary moment when he thought the mascara wouldn't come off, but after some strenuous scrubbing with Emma's makeup remover, he was clean. More flashbacks! By the time he kissed snoring Emma and climbed back into bed, it was nearly 4 a.m. In the morning, with sunlight shining in through the bedroom window and the faint sound of Emma whistling to herself as she made coffee downstairs, Thomas's cell phone dropped off the dresser where it had been plugged in to charge. It thumped to the hardwood floor, and Thomas's eyes shot open. He located the source of the noise quickly, as the phone was scooching across the floor in vibrating thrusts. Just everything is going to be sexual now. Just everything. The cell phone is sexual. The floor is sexual. When he picked it up, a little bubble titled Instagram popped up on the screen, saying he had 246 notifications. The phone vibrated again in his hand, and it changed to 247. What the F? Okay, I can't do it, all right? I can't drop the F-bomb. I just can't do it. He opened the app and started scrolling through the comments. Wow, gorgeous babe. Or possibly gorgeous babe, said one. Sorting by new pays off, said another. Reddit. The stranger the comments, the more they flattered him for some reason. One guy named Montana Boomerang 69 with a blue mohawk in his profile picture had commented on the butt-waggling video. Effing angel! Getting my double wide! For some reason, it feels like he should have had an accent of indeterminate origin, said the comment, which was followed by eggplants, thumbs up, and many other colorful emojis. The words started to lose meaning as Thomas's mind drifted. He'd never expected this thing to blow up. It was overwhelming. What should he do? What could he do? Emma called upstairs from the kitchen to ask if he wanted coffee, and Thomas dropped his phone, startled. It clattered once again to the wooden floor, cracking the screen from corner to corner in a jagged line. Shit! Thomas muttered, picking up his phone. A jagged sliver of glass poked his thumb, and a bead of blood rose instantly. Why instantly? Why instantly? It's not necessary to tell me that, unless it was like explosions of instantly that is just incomprehensible or surprising. There's no reason to say instantly. and a bead of blood rose. Bam. It rose. Like, what else are you going to imagine? Is your mind imagining the bead of blood only a teeny little speck and it's just not big enough? No. Your mind imagines a little, a little bubble of blood, and that's it. That's all it's going to imagine. Instantly does nothing. It's just a waste of words. And I'm maybe too emotionally invested in in the word instantly. Yeah, coffee sounds good, he yelled back, using a dirty sock to sweep the few bits of broken glass into the bathroom garbage can. Once it was clean, he turned the phone back on and swiped at the Instagram app to see if the touchscreen still worked. The screen slid over to the direct messages tab, and Thomas's eyes went wide. Incidentally, I've cracked my fair share of screens, and aren't they usually laminated so that doesn't happen? Anyway, what seemed like an unending sea of dick pics and hairy crotches filled the screen as he scrolled. A lone message with no picture caught his eye. Love the pictures, it said. If you're selling panties, I'd buy a pair for $50. $100 if they're blue. Here's your coffee, Emma said as she walked into the bedroom with 2 steaming mugs. Thomas tried to casually click off his phone, but he could feel the sweat on his brow. A guilty feeling washed through him as he took the offered mug. Strange paralysis, like a deer in the headlights, seemed to take over as he tried to think of what to say. The phone was heavy in his hand. You're so red in the face, Emma said. I didn't interrupt anything, did I? A mischievous grin came to her face, and she indicated his morning wood. Oh, that ain't morning wood, hun. What? No, it's fine, Thomas said, touching his cheeks, which were hot. Then he ran a hand through his hair. Troublesome dreams, I guess, he said. How'd you sleep? Good enough. Never enough, she said with a yawn. Just not feeling myself today, you know? Yeah, he said, the phone vibrating in his hand. I know. Well, that was Alistair's chance to make me as uncomfortable as possible in a video that will go out to, 10, 15 people. And he took that opportunity. So thank you a lot, Alistair, and congratulations on the win. And that'll be the end of this video. Bye-bye.